And that's why you have each other, and that's why you're there for each other.
Another thing going with the frustrations, like you have to deal with your own frustrations, but you have to know how to deal with your staff's frustrations. And for example, in the beginning of the year when we found out we can't really do food programs, you can't be like with your staff like, yeah, it's complete like crap, like I can't believe we can't do food and stuff. Like you can't really pick a side when it comes to basically everything. When there's staff conflicts between people, you can't pick someone's side over the other. Like you have to be that middle ground, and yeah, because if you're picking sides, there's okay.
Can you guys talk a little bit on how you have led people who you have been RAs with?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of my concern this year was Chris and Brian. They were people that taught me a lot last year, and I was really nervous because I found out that they were like, I mean, me and Shane normally run gardens, just us two together, but they, in the beginning of the year, kind of wanted to be separated, where I had my RAs, he had his, and Ryan and Chris were under me, and I was really nervous that they weren't going to be able to look at me in a different perspective, but I had a meeting with both of them in the very beginning, and I basically said to them, I was like, I love you guys, and we have a certain bond that I don't have with other RAs, but you guys also need to understand that I'm your RD now and not your fellow RA, and maybe I was just lucky and got like two completely respectful and understanding guys, but if you paint them and like show them the picture of, hey, like this is my position and I'm going to have to reprimand you when you do something bad, and I'm going to, is that the right word?
Reprimand.
Reprimand? Like replicate and reprimand?
Anyways, I'm going to have to, but like if you tell them that and you say it in a respectful way, and it's kind of like with crew. If you set the tone with your crew members, the rest of the year is so much easier. And if you start off like a little like, oh, you're like, I know you, like it's okay, I know you're gonna get the work done, and you let them slack off, the rest of the year it's gonna be that much harder to have them to stay accountable for like their job, and then it's going to be that much harder when you do have to sit down with them and go, hey, you're not doing your job, because they're going to look at you and they're going to go, oh, so now you're deciding to be my boss, or like, oh, now you're deciding to like hold me accountable, and it just makes the job that much worse. And if you do it from the beginning, it's almost like you don't have to really worry about it.
And it's setting the tone early about when they need to be serious, when you can joke around, when whatever, and you're nipping things in the butt right away. If it's comments, if it's being disrespectful, and you can warn them. I mean, the first family meeting that you guys had with me, I said, I'm expecting this. I'm expecting you to be quiet when everyone is speaking, because that's what you would expect from someone else. And if we do that, we can get in here, we can get what we need done, and we're good to go. And because I set that boundary and I set that line and that expectation, then everyone was willing to meet it. It's when you don't have set and vocalized expectations and you're just thinking about them in your mind, that's unrealistic for your team. Your teams cannot read minds. Okay, so you have to vocalize a lot. Sometimes you have to vocalize a few times, and there's different learning styles, so you have to walk through some things with people, and some people need in an email, and some people need a reminder, and so on and so forth. And there might be some more coaching for some people than for others, and that goes along with knowing your team. And I know I just mentioned emails. Sorry, I'm just keep remembering things. You want to make sure that anything that you send to me, anything you send to your RAs that could get you in trouble, hold you accountable, be asked to be pulled up in the court of law, anything like that, you want to send in an email. You want to make sure you get a response and you file it away. Okay, anything that I send to the RDs that I'm asking them to do, or even a reminder. Reminders are huge because they say, I never got this, which is why a lot of times we say, once you read this email, please respond with your favorite flavor of ice cream. That's not just so that you read it, that's also a confirmation that we're saying, okay, they've read it, they've responded that they've read it, and that's how you can hold them accountable as well. And you should do that with any emails to Dave, any emails to Laura, anything you get back. And anytime anyone asks you to do something, follow up with them in an email. Even if they verbally asked you, write back. Laura, I just moved Tiffany Smith from room 102 to 204. She's completely moved in. Her keys are returned. Any information that you have, just so that if something comes back that room move was buffed, then you can say, this is information I gave you. I did my part, what I was supposed to. Okay?
And that's where like the independence thing comes into play too. Like if Mama Law has asked your RAs to do an RCR, take the initiative the next day to go see Mama Law and go, hey, did those RCRs get done? Don't wait until Mama Law has to come to you and go, hey, your RAs still haven't done the RCRs. So that's like taking that initiative to go above and beyond what is expected, even though it's not even on the radar for most people.
Okay.
Just clarifying, so wait, you said we should do the same for Mama Law and Dave. So if we email them, we just ask them like what their favorite dessert is.
No, that's something that they will, okay, with pro staff, if you don't hear a response in a day or two, you email them back. With your RAs, that's just an example of how.
Wait, I thought you mean
no.
their favorite dessert.
No, that's just an example. That's why RDs sometimes ask you questions in your emails.
I understand why we get it. I just okay.
And pro staff is we're in front of our computers all day. So if there's some reason why we didn't answer an email, it's because we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of something else. It's not a high priority at that point. Or it got pushed so far down our email list that we just lost sight of it. So that's why don't feel like you're bugging me or them. Or if you feel like you're bugging them, I mean, sometimes the RGs will say, hey, I haven't got a response back from Dave. And I'll stop in and I'll be like, Dave, or I'll send an email and be like, did you answer this? Did we come to this conclusion? So yeah, no, that's just an example for RAs, because they're not sitting in front of their computers all the time and they're checking it quick on their phone. And if they don't answer, I mean, I had RA job offers out and I didn't get responses. And I realized because it was a very long email, and so when I saw them, or I texted them, I said, did you read your whole email? And they go, yeah. And I go, well, read it again, please. Just to let them know you didn't read the whole thing. Like, there's something in there that you should have done. And if it's something that's important, you send them an email, and then if you haven't heard from them in a little while, then you can call, or then you can text. Okay?
Wait, sorry, this is quick. So when you guys send out like those things asking us like what our favorite color is, all of that, do you actually pay attention to who responds?
Yes. And it's another way, it's another way to get to know.
Guys, but it's also a good way to know that you read the email. Like, I like the dessert ones just because then, like, when birthdays come up, oh, we know McKinley's a chocolate, as a
brownies.
but a chocolatey person, where, like, I know, people know with me, I don't like really sweet stuff. I like more fruity, that kind of thing.
But like, for instance, with that, I went through, and that was all emails to all old staff and new staff, so it was like 40 people, and I went through each one and marked off who sent it back, and then emailed like all the people who didn't, and was like, hey, are you guys coming? Like, you know, so yeah, that's it. We do.
There are things where I have the RA and RD roster down, and I'm literally checking off every time I get something, and I get a little annoyed when I have all these RAs and I don't get any RDs. And I'm like,
I'm probably that.
or they're like the last ones. So that's when I say to them, okay guys, we need to make sure we're responding a little quicker. Because I need to ensure that because yes, it might not be something big with me, but if Dave or Laura or Ben email them something that's important, it needs to be responded to within the hour. Or Dave's gonna be calling me and saying, hey, so-and-so, I'm usually CC'd on them, so I'll realize and I'll usually check in with you as well, but.
And that's also getting, like, knowing your staff. Like, I know for a fact Chris never answers his email during the day. Like, he only looks at his email at night. With me, like, I'm looking at my email in between classes, but if someone sends me a text message, I'll probably won't respond right away. But if they call me, then I'll call them right back. Like, that's something to know with Juliet. I know text message probably is not the best way to get a hold of her. Calling her is the best way if I need to talk to her right away.
She responds to me.
Well then,
Just
we're gonna talk about that.
Shane, did you have something to add?
Yeah, kind of along the same lines, just knowing your staff, getting to know them as soon as possible is definitely the best, because in the beginning, think about it, it's kind of like the relation between a resident and their RA. Like, you kind of see them as like a higher up person, might be more nervous to talk to, especially the new people that are coming in. They're going to see you as like, oh, like an RD, like more high up there. The sooner you break down like that like barrier of like you're above them, whatever, the better, the more efficient it's going to be, the more comfortable they're going to be to come talk to you about any problem they have. So yeah, the sooner you can become friends with them, definitely the more efficient your team will run.
And that's why we're starting this early as well, so that you guys can get trained, you can be more confident.